Dolphins fans, you're watching Dolphins Today. I am Will Scott. On today's show, we're breaking down 5 things that need to happen if the Dolphins want to win the AFC East for the first time since 2008. We've been very patient. I think this is the year the Dolphins can win that division title. What's the biggest key to victory for the Dolphins this season? Let me know down in the comments section. What do you think the biggest key is for the Dolphins this season? I think a lot of you are going to say what's number one on my list. That is Tua staying healthy. That is absolutely crucial. Tua was banged up last year. He had 2 concussions. He did not play in the playoffs, and that's why the Dolphins did not make a playoff run in large part because Tua Tagovailoa was not out there with this football team. You got to keep him healthy. Taking a look at this Dolphins offensive line, I still think it's very possible that Austin Jackson could start right tackle. If that's the case, maybe they slide Isaiah Wynn to left guard. But it's up to the guys that you see on screen to keep Tua Tagovailoa healthy. I think this offensive line is maybe a little bit better than last year. I still think they can improve. Dalton Reisner would be a fantastic addition if you can make that happen. But right now, I still think this offensive line can get a little bit better. But if this is the offensive line, they got to do everything it takes to protect Tua Tagovailoa. Because if Tua doesn't stay healthy, this football team is not going anywhere. If Tua stays healthy, and when you say Miami, that's my thought on that. But if Tua does not stay healthy, if he does not play a full season, not only does this team not win the division, I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs. This is a very tough AFC. Tua has got to stay healthy. It's tough Dolphins schedule as well. You got to have Tua out there for all 17 games. Number 2 is win on the road. This is something that at times Miami struggled to do last year. They were 8-3. They go on that road trip last year. That didn't go very well. They end up losing 5 games in a row, fall to 8-8. They got to win on the road, and it is, like I said, a tough schedule for the Dolphins, especially on the road. Taking a look at some of the key road matchups for Miami this season. Their first 2 games are both on the road and are both against teams that could very well make the playoffs in the Chargers and the Patriots. I don't think the Pats will make it, but they were close last year. Of course, the Dolphins had to rely on Buffalo to beat the Pats in Week 18 for Miami to make it last year. So both of those games are on the road. Then you go to Buffalo in Week 4. So 3 of your first 4 games all on the road. Week 7, you go to Philadelphia, the defending NFC champs. Week 12, that is the Black Friday game against Aaron Rodgers and the Jets at MetLife Stadium. And then Week 17 is in Baltimore against the Ravens. If the Dolphins can go, let's say, 4-2 in those 6 games, I think this team can and will win the division. What's the Dolphins' biggest game on the schedule this year? Let me know down in the comments section. Gosh, I think it could be the Black Friday game against the Jets. I just could see both teams having a similar record at that point in the season. That game is on the road, nationally televised game, prime time, first Black Friday game in NFL history. I could totally see that being the biggest game of the season. That Week 1 game against the Chargers, though, is pretty big as well. That's the Tua revenge game after, that's a good point, Jeremy Chuggs. Jeremy Chuggs, I'm here telling about the Chiefs as well. Now, the Chiefs was going to be a road game, but that's going to be in Frankfurt, Germany. So that's a huge game. The Eagles game is a huge game. A lot of big games for the Dolphins this year. Like I said, they got to win some of those big road matchups. Number 3, establishing a run game, because last year the Dolphins failed to do that. They ranked 26th in the NFL in rushing offense. It was disappointing because Mike McDaniel was known for being this, offensive genius. He is an offensive genius. But San Francisco, the year prior, when Mike McDaniel was in San Francisco, they had the number 1 rushing offense in the league. McDaniel comes over to Miami. He just cannot replicate that success with similar running backs. And Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson. This running back room right now, though, with Devon Achane looks pretty solid. Your top 3 backs in no particular order are Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Devon Achane. I think Salvon Ahmed and Myles Gaskin, those 2 battle it out for the last running back spot on this team. But this room could change significantly if the Dolphins sign Dalvin Cook, which I'm still hoping happens before I skedaddle. That'd be fun to talk about here. I do believe Dalvin Cook's going to be a Dolphin. And look, I've said it before. I'll say it again. The Dolphins don't necessarily need Dalvin Cook, but he makes you a better football team. He improves your chances to win a Super Bowl. So I'm all for it. And you have about, $12, $13 million in cap space. You could probably afford him. Number 4 is consistency. The Dolphins were like a roller coaster last year, man. I mean, it was just up and down, up and down. They start 3-0, then they lose 3 straight, then they win 5 straight, then they lose 5 straight, then they win in Week 18, lose in the playoffs. So 9 wins, 9 losses total for the Dolphins. It was a roller coaster season. Miami has got to establish momentum early on and cannot let up. Now, that's going to be tough to do because your first 2 games of the season are both on the road. You go to New England, you go to Los Angeles, so it is going to be difficult for the Dolphins to establish that momentum early, but they cannot let up once they get that momentum going. I think consistency really important here. They cannot afford to have the hiccups like they had last season where they lose 5 straight games. It cannot happen. If the Dolphins want to win this division, they probably got to go 13-4 or 12-5 in order to make that happen. Never miss a thing here on the channel. Be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications. Just because I'm leaving, the content's not stopping. The Chat Sports team is going to have you covered here with more content, and then they're going to continue to have you covered until a new hire is made in the coming weeks. My replacement will be named here in the coming weeks, so be sure to stay tuned. There's hundreds of applicants, plenty of really quality candidates that I'm sure they're looking at, so be sure to still support the channel. Do not unsubscribe. Willie Finns would not want you to unsubscribe. I still want you guys, Chat Sports, support this channel, so make sure you subscribe, turn your notice so you know when videos go out. Number 5 here on my keys to winning the AFC East is to let Vic Fangio cook. Vic Fangio is one of the best defensive minds of this era. He comes in as the defensive play caller here, and he has all this talent on defense. The Dolphins' defense is lethal. You got Javon Holland. You got Brandon Jones. You got Christian Wilkins. You got Zach Sealer. You got Bradley Chubb. You got Jalen Phillips. You got Jalen Ramsey. You have all this talent. You have Xavier Howard. I can go on and on about the talent on this Dolphins defense. I am so excited to see what Vic Fangio is going to do as the defensive coordinator on this Dolphins team. I think it is going to make a huge impact, a huge difference really for Miami. I'm excited to see what Bradley Chubb is going to do with him. Keep in mind, he had a lot of success with Vic Fangio in Denver. Now, Chubb wasn't as good after the trade, but Josh Boyer, I think he might be partially to blame for that, the former Dolphins defensive coordinator. I think Bradley Chubb with Vic Fangio will look a lot better. I think Jalen Phillips could have an absolutely monster season, maybe a dark horse for Defensive Player of the Year. And then David Long, how about that? One of the better free agency signs the Dolphins had. And then Jerome Baker, solid as well. The Dolphins have 2 number 1 corners. Like Mike Greenberg said the other day when he was saying the Dolphins are the best team in the AFC, they have 2 number 1 corners in Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard. Cater Coe's a stud. You drafted Cam Smith. You got Keon Cross and Nick Needham. This Dolphins cornerback room looks great, and so does the safety room with Brandon Jones and Javon Holland as your top 2 safeties. Deshaun Elliott, also a really good free agency signing. You brought him over after he spent last season with the Detroit Lions. Will the Dolphins win the AFC East? Type Y for yes or type N for no down in the comments section. Go down, let me know. Will the Dolphins win the AFC East? I'm typing my Y for yes. I think they get it done.